I'm Jessie J, the Laughing Model, and I'm here today with JohnSox LLC Sports Cards. Sports Cards. How do I?
Sports cards, yes, ma'am.
Yes, Sports Cards LLC. Um, his can I talk about your real name, or do you
Yeah,
just want to go
yeah,
by
you
John
can you can
Sox?
throw my real name out. Yeah, that's
Okay.
fine.
Well, I know him as Chris. He is one of my husband's best friends, or only best friend. They're booze. And he is helping me out with a lot of information for my content creation. So, um, if you don't know me, you may not know that I'm in several different kinds of uh, I just kind of have my hands in a little bit of everything. So I do face painting, photography, modeling, business consulting, and I would love to start doing more interviews and online stuff with content creation. So Chris is, just amazing enough to sit here with me and show me some things, and he's helping me look a little bit more professional, add some zhuzhing up of what I want to do. So he may not be in the model or fashion industry. Well, I mean, you might think he is, I mean, if you take a look at him.
Gorgeous.
But he's definitely top notch when it comes to the content creation and his knowledge of sports cards. So tell us a little bit, a little bit about yourself. Could you please tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, so again, I'm Chris. Everyone in the community probably knows me as JohnSox Cards. A lot of the guys on Fanatics Live and whatnot know me as John or John Sox. I started off in eBay sales during COVID, right around 2022. Just listing some cards that I've had for a little bit, still collecting and all that. Was able to hit a few big cards like a couple Wemby rookies, numbered stuff, and just started flipping them on eBay. And that time kind of turned into what I am now. Where I'm promoting all my stuff on eBay. I'm promoting myself out there on Fanatics Live with the guys that I rip with. Shout out to Rizzo Sports and Only Cards Breaks over on eBay. If you all collect cards, you need to check those guys out. They're awesome, awesome fellas. But no, I've been doing this for, like I said, about 3 years. Just got into the realm of doing whatnot and selling singles and stuff like that. As a collector, I love collecting cards, as you can obviously see by everything that we have around us.
Yes, we'll have to do a little video of that so we can include it in the video so you can see some of his setup and how amazing it looks.
Yeah, so thank you.
Yes.
But no, but as a collector, it's hard sometimes to find maybe a team or a player, that maybe you grew up watching as
Hmm.
a kid, being in my, early mid 40s. It's a little bit harder sometimes when people talk about Griffey and Thomas and Canseco and Nolan Ryan and all these, big stars back in the, mid 80s, late 80s, early 90s, up until the early 2000s. So my goal was to be able to help provide that to folks. So I started going through my own personal collection um, and finding some of these, bigger names that people may have grown up with
Hmm.
that are just kind of harder to find. And my daughter suggested that I do whatnot,
Hmm.
and I'm still new to this whole social media thing. I'm still new
Hmm.
to the platform and whatnot, you know. But with every show that I do is a learning experience.
Hmm.
Getting to learn the community, getting to learn my clients, my clientele, the folks who come in, on the regular and look forward to my shows. Whether it's for entertainment, whether it's for knowledge, whether it's how I got started because I've only been doing this full time on the weekends, for a few months.
Hmm.
So it's just a way for me to kind of just give back to those who may want to try to have, a little more personal thing. Maybe if you have kids or if you have grandkids and you want to give back and you're like, man, I really wish, I could show my son or my grandson or my granddaughter,
Hmm.
like who this player was, and being
Hmm.
able to kind of provide that to folks. It's kind of what drove me into the realm that I'm in now.
Hmm.
So being able to, sell some of the higher end stuff that I have on eBay,
Hmm.
and some of the lower end, cheaper stuff on whatnot is a way for me to, give back to those who might be looking for something.
Hmm.
And they may not know. You may be, you may jump into my eBay store, see something that you really like, and oh man, I totally forgot about that guy.
Hmm.
He's awesome. Or you might jump into, one of my whatnot streams, and you're looking for a specific college
Hmm.
team. Maybe your alma mater's, like JMU or something, and you're like
Hmm.
you can't find one of those cards. So that's kind of the whole way I got behind it and what I do. As far as just getting on and trying to be silly, be educational, and help folks out. I mean, that's kind of what it all comes down to is, helping new folks back into the hobby. Maybe you're 40,
Hmm.
maybe you're 40, and you once collected and you got that stock, in your attic or down in your
Hmm.
basement, and just trying to, bring up those memories. And if it's one way I can do it, then, it's definitely worth it. So,
Well, that's really awesome. I know that, I mean, I'm personally have not had a whole lot to do with cards. I think I had 90210 cards from when I was a teenager or
yeah,
something like
a lot of
that.
the, a lot of the retro stuff, yeah.
Some retro things, but I know I've heard, especially my youngest son was really into collecting basketball, football, and really into like how to find them, what types to buy, potentially getting special packs, and then buying and selling as well. So he would have been a great person to have here to talk to because he would definitely be interested because he's doing that. But I mean, I would tune in solely for the entertainment because you're hilarious. But this is really interesting and to know how in depth you go and what you find. And I can see your excitement when you talk about getting different things in the mail or maybe
I love
getting
it.
like buying a box and then the box has something like, incredible in it that you couldn't even imagine finding. So I love that. You said you talked a little bit about what you do and how long you've been doing it. Could you tell us about your favorite cards?
So growing up, I was obviously a Raiders fan.
Hmm.
It kind of stemmed from my younger brother being named after Steve Largent and Dave Craig of the Seahawks, and and all that. And back in the day, for all you all who remember, the Seahawks and the Raiders used to be in the same division, and Bo Jackson came around. So I've been a fan of the Raiders since I was a young kid. So I grew up watching the Raiders. I grew up watching the White Sox. That's where JohnSox
Oh,
Cards
okay.
actually comes in. It's
Okay.
a combination of my last name and my favorite baseball team.
Okay, that's cool.
So it's JohnSox
Yes.
Cards.
So my laughing model came up or the laughing entity came up because that's how people remember me. If you get me laughing really
Yep.
hard, I have a memorable laugh. And so when I was rebranding and doing all this, I was like, well, what is something that's never going to change? Because sometimes your last name changes and circumstances in life. And I was like, what's one thing that's never going to change?
Yeah.
My laugh is never going to change. And over the years, people that I have been with have, but that's the one thing I'll get in my comments is I miss your laugh. You had such a distinctive laugh. And so I love having something you can tie into your personality. So knowing that John Sox is great how you tied it in and created
Yeah,
that name.
absolutely. And it's funny because my daughter helped me kind of generate that name and all that. But no, some of my favorite cards, I actually have right here, kind of, in front of us. I've got this, Bo Jackson
Ooh.
patch card out of 99 with the Ashton Genty on the back.
So what is inside of it? Is it
So
like a
in
material
yeah,
from their
so in
jersey?
yeah, so inside of these patch cards is actually just a part of a Raiders jersey,
Oh,
is all it
okay.
is. It's not specific to the player or game
Anything. It's
worn,
just
but it is part of the jersey.
cool.
So something that maybe someone buys at the
Mhm.
store,
Mhm.
the card manufacturers, they'll buy in bulk and then cut them up and take pieces of the fabric or
Oh,
the numbers, and they'll put them in there. But that's
that's really cool. That's awesome.
that's one of my favorites there. Um, right now I'm super big. I was just talking about the '90s, and Griffey and all that. One of my favorite ones right now is this 2024 National Treasures Ken Griffey Jr. patch card out of 49. Um,
Ooh.
growing up with Griffey and all that, this is probably some would say a higher end valued card just because National Treasures is not a cheap product to
Mhm.
buy. So when you get something like that, it's super cool.
Mhm.
When you're able to kind of get a piece of your memory, from your
Yeah,
childhood back and
absolutely.
something like that, which is why I've kept that card and why it's, what I call my back wall.
Mhm.
But then I also have, this Jerry Rice
Okay.
auto, Jerry Rice auto out of 50. That's going to stay in my PC. Um, you
And
know,
PC is your
Personal
personal
collection.
collection.
Yeah,
Okay.
so for those of you out there, if you have, kids or spouses, significant others that collect cards and they're talking about a PC, they're talking about their own personal collection.
Things that you're never going to get rid of.
Or if the price is right, maybe. Who knows?
There's always a price,
Always a
right? There's always
price.
a price that
Yeah.
might be right.
And being John Sox being part of my name, who wouldn't have a PC, without a nice Canerico on card auto bat relic card out of National Treasures. So that's definitely
That's pretty
um,
cool. So
in
that's
there.
a piece of the bat.
That's a piece of his bat,
Ooh,
game used.
that's pretty neat.
And it even says here the enclosed game used, worn material, and autographs are guaranteed by Panini. So this is a game used bat and an on card auto. So on the
That's
back of the
awesome.
cards, it shows you and tells you, but what's a PC for John Sox if I ain't got a White Sox card, right?
Right.
Next up, I've got a little bit of nostalgia.
Ooh.
I got,
Ooh.
yeah,
Wow. What a card.
yeah. So this card right here, this takes me back to, my younger days as a very,
Wow.
early kid.
I was so
This is
young then, but I remember these names. These are famous.
PSA 10, Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson,
I
same
remember.
card. That's, I mean,
That's,
got to be in my PC.
oh wow. That's incredible.
And then another footballer growing up, back in the late 90s, early 2000s, who can forget, Marshall Falk, so I got his autograph as well. Um, what PC as a Michigan fan, what Michigan collection wouldn't be complete without that guy? You know,
Oh, so is
um,
that like his college card?
no, so this is actually Tom Brady
Okay.
on the Bucks, but this is what they call a
Oh.
case hit. And for those of you wondering what a case hit is, it's one card out of a case that is only one of. So I've got a few of those in my collection as well in
Oh.
my PC that
Did
I
you show
actually
Mark that one?
not yet,
Oh.
not yet. Black Market would probably take that, but it is a launch Tom Brady PSA 9 out of this past year's Topps Inception. Um, so
Wow.
out of the whole case, there was only this one launch card. So the
Oh
launch is
wow.
the case hit for the Inception.
Wow. That's
Um,
so interesting.
and then going back again, nostalgia,
Mm-hmm.
White Sox, you know, what wouldn't be, complete without a nice, Frank Thomas Ricky Auto on the no name, you know. So there's that one. And then this card right here actually has a lot of meaning to me. Um, growing up, my brother and I used,
Hair there?
he used to have hair.
Oh my. I don't know that I've ever seen him with hair.
Yeah, growing up, my
Wow.
brother and I would actually go to our local card show,
Mm-hmm.
and it was this magic shop in the back of a mall in Butte, Montana. And him and I would just buy packs of cards.
Mm-hmm.
And back in '92, when Shaq was first drafted, I was collecting a lot of basketball. His favorite team was the Magic, mine was the Hornets.
Mm-hmm.
So I was always looking for this card
Mm-hmm.
specifically. And I got lucky one day and found a box of 92, 93 Fleer Ultra on eBay for like 85 bucks. Was all it was.
Mm-hmm.
So I went ahead and picked it up, and throughout the entire box, I ripped every single pack. All I told myself is I only care about one card.
Mm. And you
Um,
got it?
and I ended up getting it. And I
Oh.
don't talk about my brother often enough.
Mm-hmm.
After he was killed in a motorcycle accident back in 2015.
Mm.
Um, but the Magic was his favorite team growing up, and Shaq was his favorite player.
Oh
So when I
wow.
was actually able to basically pull his Grail card,
Mm.
I think it's the first time my wife saw me cry over something like this.
Ugh, that's cool.
But no,
Holy Moses, that's really neat.
it's Shaq's 92, 93 Fleer Ultra,
He
all
has hair
rookie
too. That's,
series,
I mean,
and
I
he
know
has,
that
yeah,
to me that's like the one thing because
and
I only know Shaq.
he even has hair. I don't know if y'all can see that, but Shaq has hair in that card.
That's
Um,
but that's such a great like memory thing to have as well.
yeah,
That's amazing.
absolutely. And then last but definitely not least, as you can see, behind us or in front of us, I've got probably one of the most prolific receivers of the 2000s. Again, case hit.
Hmm.
This one's actually numbered
Oh,
out of 10, if you
okay.
look closely enough.
5 out of 10. I
Five
see
out of
that.
10.
So there's
So
only 10
only
total.
only 10 of these ones out there,
Ooh.
and I've got one of the 10.
Oh. So
So,
that's cool.
and growing up being a Moss fan, I mean, who wouldn't want a case hit of Randy Moss?
Wow.
Yeah, so this is
That's pretty
also
cool.
my PC. This is a 2024 Absolute Explosives Gold Randy Moss, numbered out of 10, PSA 9, staying in my
Wow.
PC. But I also have, I've
That's
got a,
incredible.
I've got a one of one Clayton Kershaw rookie auto.
Okay.
that I hit this year in Topps Archives. Super cool card that I got. My boy Dylan over at Only Cards Breaks, him and I were ripping a box of these guys right here, these Encore.
Mm.
And I got a Tim Brown numbered out of 50. So I was super stoked about that. Um, I just, it's just super cool to have some of those memories, like Tim Brown auto. I know he's from the Dallas area and stuff like that, but I mean, just to have a card with his auto on it was super cool to get. So obviously I sent that in and got it graded and stuff. And then just today, literally, like ironically enough, I got a box in from
Mhm.
PSA
Mhm.
with more graded cards that you all can find later on as we tell you guys about it. But this right here was the first case hit I ever pulled since
Oh.
I started doing this
Ooh, what a cool card too.
three years ago. So this was the
Wow.
first case hit I ever
Mm.
had, and it is a 2023 Optic Rob Gronkowski International Downtown.
Wow.
My opinion, the 23 Optic Downtowns are probably my favorite.
It's
Um,
a beautiful card too. I
it
mean,
is, and being my first case hit ever, I decided I wanted to go ahead and get it slabbed up, keep it nice and protected and all that. So this is definitely going to be going to my PC as well.
wow.
So
That's
eventually, so
incredible.
eventually one day I'm going to have a nice little display case with all my PC cards, nicely displayed and graded or whatever the case may be.
That's really cool.
You know,
That's really
so
cool.
but as you can see too, I've got some softball stuff
Mhm.
on my back wall. I've got a Hulk Hogan Ricky card.
Oh,
Um,
that's awesome.
I've got Gary from SpongeBob. I've got a Patrick autograph from this year's SpongeBob collection.
Oh, wow.
Lots of autos. I got Jim Kelly when I met him. Vinny Testaverde for anybody who grew up in the '90s. I got his autograph. I got Joe Theismann. So it's
Wow.
trading cards in general, not just sports cards, but just cards in general. You've got so many different genres. You've got Pokemon, you've got Yu-Gi-Oh, you've
Mhm.
got One Piece, you've got all sports cards, obviously. But then you also have like the Disney stuff,
Mhm.
which is big. And then you've got your NASCAR, and then you've got your, cartoon stuff like SpongeBob.
Mhm.
So collecting cards necessarily isn't just for sports.
Mhm.
There's so many different
I didn't realize that there was a whole thing for cartoons and Disney,
yeah,
and
and that's such the cool thing about it is there's such
that's amazing to
a
me.
huge plethora of options out there for folks that I mean if you grew up watching like Animaniacs or something
Oh
like
yeah,
that you know
who remembers that?
right Animaniacs the song gets stuck in your head when you think about it if you saw it right um, but
Yes.
WB came out with a set and you can get Animaniacs cards. I ripped the whole box and I ended up getting, I know it sounds dumb, but for me it's really cool because I grew up watching the original Space Jam. So I
Oh
have the
yeah,
entire
I
starting
love this.
lineup of the Monstars, including the coach
That's so
that
cool. That's
I'm
awesome.
gonna get framed and all that. And it's one of those like weird things, but that's the nice thing about cards is like
Yeah,
it's not
that's very nostalgic for me as well because I remember that.
yeah
That was
like
like,
and that's the thing is like
yeah.
and my wife she loves certain things too. So it's like if I can give her back a piece of her memory, her favorite movie is, you know, uh, Alice in Wonderland, and it's like Gone with the Wind
Oh.
and some of those classics.
Mhm.
So there's those cards out there. She actually went with me to the
Wow.
Dallas Card Show back in October,
Mhm.
and she saw just a whole bunch of different stuff, and she's like, I can't believe like all this stuff is
Yeah.
available. And that's the cool thing about it is collecting cards
Yeah.
isn't just about sports. It's about everything. So if you
Mhm.
have a liking to anything, it's out there, and that's the cool thing about it. And as I start to expand and try to reach, more people that I want to help impact, which I do more than just, sell cards online. Um,
Yes, I was wondering. I know we wanted to talk about if you donate, what's that process? How do you donate?
yeah,
And what do
so
you do?
that's an interesting thing. Being impacted by, being a disabled vet myself and with all my veteran friends and active duty members like your husband,
Mhm.
Black Mark, love you, boo. Um, I want to be able to give back to the community the easiest way I can,
Mhm.
obviously.
Mhm.
And for me and my business, 10% of all my sales, whether it's through eBay, whether it's through my whatnot, 10% of all my sales goes to some charitable organization. So if someone comes into my whatnot stream and I happen to be selling football cards, 10% of all those sales goes to the Wounded Warrior Foundation, the Wounded Warrior
Oh,
Project, to
wow.
help disabled vets.
That's amazing.
All the other sports, they go to a cancer research foundation that is in partnership with that sport. So, like if someone comes in and they buy a basketball card from me during one of my basketball shows, that goes towards the Jimmy V Foundation.
Okay.
Baseball cards, 10% of that goes to the Susan G. Komen Breast Cancer Foundation for breast cancer
Wow.
awareness. My
That's
mother is
amazing.
a
Hi, everyone. I'm just doing this quick little video to add to the end of my interview with John and JohnSox baseball cards or cards in general because we had a audio issue at the end of our interview and the last few minutes did not get actually record any sound. So I wanted to hop on here, add this to the end, and let you know that I'll be adding all of his stuff, all of his links, how you can find him, how you can shop cards with him in the comments. Thanks, everyone.